This episode is sponsored by the Hollywood Casino at Charlestown Races in West Virginia. August entertainment includes the $1 million Charlestown Classic Race and Festival. Enjoy live racing, live entertainment, food trucks, and more. Fun for the whole family. Details at HollywoodCasinoCharlestown.com. Must be 21 to enter the casino floor and attend a show. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Welcome to the newest episode of Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. I'm your host, Jason Fraley, picking the brains of the top filmmakers, musicians, and artists of our time. Sublime with Rome brings its farewell tour to the Hall at Live Casino and Hotel in Arundel Mills, Maryland, a week from today on August 28th. I spoke with lead singer Rome Ramirez about his swan song with the band before forging ahead solo.
Hello.
Hey, Rome Ramirez. Hey, thanks so much for joining us on WTOP.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, man.
We are here at the radio station in Washington, D.C., talking with Rome Ramirez because Sublime with Rome is going to be bringing their, quote, farewell tour to the Hall at Live Casino and Hotel in Arundel Mills, Maryland on August 28th. Thanks for joining us. So I guess let's start by explaining what it means by farewell tour. Obviously, tragically, frontman Bradley Noah, we all know, tragically died of the overdose in 96, but then you joined up with Sublime, about 15 years ago now? Is that right?
Yeah, right about then. It's been an amazing about 15 years. We've gotten to tour the world and put out some great albums, and it's been a absolute just pleasure and just an absolute journey, to say the least. But I got some music of my own that I really wanted to really put a lot of my focus into and a lot of my time into. And last September when we got off the road, I had spoke to everybody, in our team and just kind of expressed how after this year that we're in right now and after these shows that we have, I was going to be moving forward with my solo act and just really putting the time and energy into that music that I've been making. And honestly, this year has just been such an amazing send-off sort of celebration with the fans that we've created. And it's just been emotional and awesome. And it's a real blessing to be able to get to connect with the fans one last time under this outfit, before I break off and go solo.
I love it. And we will invite all of the listeners and all the, attendees to the Sublime with Rome's final shows here on the tour to continue to follow you on your solo career. And I'd love to get to some of your solo stuff. Maybe we can, end the interview with that after we hit Sublime pretty hard, because that's what this show is about. But so you'll be doing solo, and then and then is it Bradley's son, Jacob Noah, is going to carry the baton from here? You're doing the Olympic torch, passing the torch.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a really beautiful thing. Jacob will be, for, the listeners who may not know, Jacob, Bradley's son, he'll be taking over the torch and moving forward. You'll be able to see Sublime, with him as a singer. And, it's a beautiful project in and of itself. It's so much closer to his family. And I feel like, it's his time to shine now with the songs. It's the theoretical baton has been passed. So it's a beautiful thing, especially coming from the lineage and the family side, and me coming in as a fan. We've always kind of tended to be a little bit more dominant in the set list with the classics and the just the song library that Sublime, Bradley, Bud, and Eric had created. Yeah. And we let our original music kind of just take the back seat as far as the live goes. But on this celebration, we really listened to a lot of the fans, and I was just, listening to all the comments and messages that I'd get, and everybody wants to really hear a lot of the original music that we had written over the years.
Yeah.
In this last set. So it's been kind of awesome in that regard. Like, we've been obviously playing the classics, all the hits that you love from Sublime, and a couple of the deep cuts, but really putting an emphasis on some of our original music that we've just never really got to play over the years. So that's been a lot of fun in and of itself,
That's awesome. So remind us which band members will be with you on this quote unquote farewell tour of Sublime with Rome, because when you first joined it was still Bob Gaw on drums and Eric Wilson on bass, right? And then over time, is it Joe and Brian with you?
Yeah, Joe and Brian are with me, and then Gabriel McNair from No Doubt. He's been with us. I mean, he's been with us for the last like 10 years.
Okay.
So I mean, and it's all like a lot of our same crew and family rolling with us. So, for the most part, it's exactly like the same band sonically, and I mean, we've never really sounded tighter in our entire life, which is a testament to just kind of how long we've been doing this, and just kind of like the passion going into this final set, as we kind of put the sunset on this band. It gives everything just so much more of a more special meaning. And I mean, you definitely play your heart out, and you could tell that the fans are like just so much more emotional because they also know that this is an end of an era.
Absolutely. One final thing on sort of the farewell tour of it, and then I'd love to break down some of the highlights over the years and hit songs and stuff. But so just to clarify, so when Jacob takes the baton, as you called it, I love the Olympic tie-in. We couldn't have planned that better. But will he be with Bud and Eric, or is he going to join with Joe and Brian, your outfit, and continue? Like which outfit will that be going with?
Oh, I think the plan for Sublime is to continue with Bud and Eric. I mean, I'm not sure how long Eric could be in the band, but
Gotcha.
they're continuing to go under the name of Sublime, and
Right.
add in their friends and family. And the band that I'm with, I mean, those are my boys. We've been playing music for the better part of 10 years, most of us.
Yeah.
So I'll be definitely jamming with those guys, and just kind of keeping everything open. With this music, I definitely plan on hitting different markets. With my solo music, with just like myself and Broken Down, and then kind of coming together and doing festivals with the full band. A lot of the members that you've seen me with, some guest musicians sitting in, like this is really kind of my era to just have some fun with it. and
Yeah.
and it kind of be my own thing. So in that regard, it's a lot of fun just kind of putting together the future in real time, mid flight.
Absolutely. And I'm glad it's kind of cool that we're catching you literally mid-time as it's sort of the end of one era and the beginning of two new eras. It's excited to see
Absolutely.
where they go and where you go with this afterwards. This is going to be great. Well, when people tuning in to hear this interview, they're gonna want to hear all your thoughts on getting to sing all these great Sublime songs under the Sublime with Rome banner now. So let's dive into that some now, and then we can loop it back around to your solo stuff at the end if that's cool with you. Um,
Yeah,
so
man.
so to remind us how the band formed in Long Beach, California in '88. I know obviously you weren't there because that was the year you were born in Fremont, California.
Yeah,
But I'm sure
a
you've
little
heard
young.
the story from Bud and Eric and others over the years. So if you can, from the game of telephone of that story being told to you, do you remember how they got together?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Eric and Brad were already jamming. They were in like another project, and then Bud lived across the alley from Eric. So like just over the course, I think in like their like college years, they just kind of Eric introduced each other to like Bud and Brad, and then from there they just kind of kept jamming, and kind of kept perfecting their sound, which is like really crazy because in like they really weren't around for that long in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
And they didn't really have like a lot of music that they put out like as polished as like their self-titled record. But I mean, it's obviously a testament to like how good the music is because it's just stand the test of time. And when I heard the band, I was like 12 years old. So at that point, Bradley had already been, you know, dead for a couple of years. So I was pretty bummed out when I heard that I wouldn't be able to ever see them live. So that was like, kind of like a heartache moment. But he had a lot of influence on the scene, and there were a lot of bands that were inspired by Sublime that were kind of keeping the sound going. And then we had the Long Beach Dub All Stars and stuff. So by the time that I got to meet the guys when I was like 19, it was like, they were just such a huge staple in my life, and especially in my, early teenage years.
Yeah.
I started hanging out with Eric, and he would have these parties. Eric's the bass player. He'd have these parties at his house in the Long Beach Peninsula, and he'd invite me over. And one day he was just like, "Dude, do you want to play some Sublime songs?" And I was like, "Hell yeah, man! That's like a dream come true to be playing them with you." And
That is a
we just
dream
kept doing
invite
it,
right there. Are you kidding me? To get to
dude.
play with one of your
Totally.
idols? Yeah.
Oh man, 100%, man. Those are those kind of moments that even still to this day, I look back at those moments, and I just,
Yeah.
man, they're just key pivotal moments that I'm just glad that I will always get to cherish in my life.
Yeah.
But we just kept playing those parties, and I don't know what, but like after a while, like after probably about a year doing that, he sat me down and was just like, "Would you be ever interested in singing with Bud and I, Sublime?" And I was just like, "Dude, pinch me moment." Like it just didn't even seem real. And and then that really was like the start of that whole journey, and it was it's been a beautiful run, man.
That's
Really,
so
really awesome.
That's so awesome. But yeah, so like you're saying, sadly, he had died and the band closed by the time you even found him. But I'm sure you doubled back and heard all three of them. They only put out 3 albums, which is crazy. But I'd love to hit them chronologically just really quick. And we don't have to go forever on them, but just memories of when you're doubling back and listening to them as like in your formative years, like that first album of theirs was 40 Ounces to Freedom in 1992. Waiting for My Rook, Smoke Two Joints, Bad Fish, Rivers of Babylon. There was a Grateful Dead cover of Scarlet Begonias on there. My wife says that's the definitive version in her mind. But do you have
It's a
a
great
favorite off
version.
of that first album, the 40 Ounce of Freedom album?
Dude, what one is like kind of like a sleeper in my eyes is Chico Mi Tipo. Like
Mm,
I feel like that song is just it's so it's so 80s. Like one thing that I've learned that like I don't think a lot of people know,
huh.
um, I've learned from like Eric about Brad is like Brad's like favorite band was The Cure. And like he was super, super inspired by The Cure, Robert Smith and all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And you can really hear it with like the chorus guitar and the jazz chords, the sevenths, and just some of the like, the vocal effects he's got going on. Like and it's like once you like listen for that, you kind of like can't unhear it.
Well,
And
thanks for doing
when
that
I,
to us now. Now we're gonna think that
oh
every time.
dude, well, it's cool because it's
It's
like,
cool.
that's probably like the last band you would think,
Yeah,
when you're thinking of Sublime. But
yeah.
again, that's just kind of what made like, Bradley so special was just being able to listen to all these influences of music and then just put them into sometimes one song. It's rad. But
That is
yeah, so that's probably one of my favorites on the record. It's just such a sleeper. And it's all in Spanish. And that's kind of rad.
right. And you, I mean, I'm sure you spoke Spanish because your parents are from Mexican heritage, right? Your
Uh-huh.
mom's side was Guadalajara and your dad's side was Tijuana, then to Oakland, right? So,
Yep.
wow. So yeah, you go. So there you go. The Spanish standout song, in your opinion, on that first album. I love it. I love it. This is the gold you're giving us. All right, and then and do you have a favorite from that second album? It was Robin the Hood in '94. Gosh, I could list them all. I remember there was the Gwen Stefani duet, Saul Red. But how about you? What's your favorite on that second one?
Probably STP. I just think that song's so rad. And then it goes into like that like super sweet. I forgot who the original at the end. It's like an old like Motown classic. And baby, you wanna give me kisses so sweet.
Oh,
It's just so cool that like, it's like this punk rock song about like,
is it the The
smoking.
Miracle, Smokey Robinson, A Second
Yeah,
Night
yeah,
Emotion,
that's it.
Yeah, right.
That's it. Yep,
Yeah.
yep. Yeah, I mean the whole song is just about like, smoking meth with your buddies in the garage. And then it just goes into like the miracles at the end. You're just like, that's fucking amazing.
Different kind of Smokey, I guess. I guess
Yeah,
that's the
exactly.
all right, cool. And then to round it out, of course, the self-titled third album, which tragically was their
Oh,
last,
dude.
Sublime in '96. You're dropping deep cuts of true Sublime fans on the first and second album, but the third one is one that is mainstream. Everybody freaking knows that. You can't
Yeah,
go anywhere
everyone
in the
knows that one.
summertime and a beach or a bar or anywhere without hearing that stuff. We got What I Got, Santeria, Doing Time, Wrong Way, Caress Me Down. It is ridiculous how many hits are on that one. But any insight, any light you can shed on how fun it is getting to play some of those off of that one? That's iconic stuff.
Yeah, one of the ones that really stands out to me is Jailhouse. It's such a great song. And it's like a rework of like a Bob Marley record, but Bradley really pulls in. He does his thing on there like he always does. and just injects so much like swag and just modernness into the song, and
Yeah.
you could just kind of hear it.
Yeah.
But the groove is just so good, and it's like you put it on at like any party, and it's like, I mean, it's just like a modern, it's like the equivalent of like Khruangbin now. It's just you just set it in the background, and people are like, "God, this is so good."
Yeah.
Yeah, Jailhouse is definitely probably my favorite off that one.
Oh, okay. So it's slightly more of a deep cut, although everyone that knew all the hits bought the album, so they all know even the quote deep tracks in between. So everybody knows all
Yeah,
the songs.
exactly.
Well, I'm just envisioning how this is going to play on the radio, and I got to play some of those famous ones, of course, to sell tickets to the show. So let's do it rapid fire. Say like the first word that comes to mind.
Oh yeah,
What is it?
yeah.
What I got?
Oh man, the first song I ever learned on guitar.
Oh, awesome. All right, Santeria.
One of the greatest guitar solos that I love to play every night.
Doing time.
The smoothest, coolest song that just keeps coming back every decade and going number one.
Wrong way.
Oh, the right way.
Ah, love it. And one more. Caress me down.
Oh, a really foul song, but wonderful song.
Like foul as in it can't believe they got away with that. But there's a lot of songs like
Yeah, just the
that.
lyrics in that song are crazy.
You'll have families nodding along to that at a backyard
They
barbecue.
have
Not
no
really.
idea.
But that's the case with not just Sublime. That's a lot of 90s hip hop, and especially when we're all grandparents, that's going to be some interesting backyard barbecue.
Yeah, there was like a band called Cherry Popping Daddies. I don't know if that would even be like around today.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I remember them well.
You definitely
Uh,
couldn't name your band that.
no, well, you could, but it might get filtered out by the algorithm. Who knows nowadays?
The algorithm. Yeah, exactly.
But that's great. Oh, awesome, awesome. And well, I have to follow up on at least what you said, the first song you played on guitar. I should have asked you that back in the beginning. So you said What I Got was the first one you learned when you discovered them?
Yeah, those chords, they were like the very first ones. It's just that D and the G.
D and the G, baby. All right. Well, then that brings us sort of to full circle to what we mentioned that, Bradley Nowell sadly dies of the heroin overdose in 96. And that forces the band to break up for a few years there after only just 3 albums. I always think of it like, James Dean only made 3 movies and 2 of them came out posthumously. But it's sort of a similar thing. Do you think that in a sad bittersweet way, but do you think that similar to a Kurt Cobain or a Tupac or Biggie, like do you think that the untimely demise in a way even drove more people like yourself to go back and discover their stuff?
Oh yeah. I mean, there's something to that. Um, when you know that it's like fixed, you're just like it makes you cherish it that much more. At least that's how I always saw it. Like I really listened a lot more intently and a lot more deeply because I knew that there wasn't a lot. So I had to travel deep instead of travel wide.
Right.
And
Yeah.
and that's kind of what you do with those bands, that don't get to live to be 70 years old and put out 13 albums, 10 of which are awful. It's like
You
you
remember them
just
as
get
special and young forever.
it's
That's what I always
100%. It
remember.
plays a piece of your life, and that's what I think is also really magical about Sublime that I think will continue on forever, and why I know Jacob, Bud, and Eric will find success. And
Yeah.
what they're doing is just the music is bigger than everyone, bigger than all of us, belongs to the people, and as long as there's like speakers in the world, people will be playing that music.
You raised such a good point. Yeah, I mean, when you realize that they're gone and not much music, it makes you cherish, a Jimi Hendrix or a Janis Joplin or a
A
Jim
hundred percent.
Morrison or
You
stuff like.
can you can
And
listen to everything that Jimi Hendrix did in an afternoon,
yeah,
and that's like
Or an Amy
crazy.
Winehouse for a new
Uh
example.
huh.
Like I know a
Hundred
lot of those
percent.
only made it to 27, but Bradley only got 28. But yeah, but you're carrying on the legacy. All right, so then you joined in 2009. I think I read your first gig with the guys with as Sublime with Rome. I guess would have been with Cypress Hill Smokeout Festival in San Bernardino, California. Is that right? Oh
Oh
nine, I
yeah,
think. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. That was
Wow.
our first show with them, and it was awesome. Got Bad Brains was on the bill, and I think
Woo.
Slipknot played. It was pretty wild night.
Thanks for mentioning Bad Brains because that's our DC punk.
Oh, of
You're tying
course.
it into DC down here. We love the
Yeah.
local
Well, I
community.
mean, you guys kicked them out, and then they went to New York and broke. But yeah.
Well, oh, sorry. Oh yeah. We yeah, no, they were the baby birds. We made them leave the nest and then they can come
Yeah.
back.
There you go. I
There,
like
let's
that.
call it that.
I like that.
That's great. Well, I wanted to give you a chance, as promised, to sort of talk about the stuff that you with Sublime with Rome. Like, what stuff have you done with them since 2009? Original stuff. That, let's say it this way: if our listeners only know the Bradley early stuff, what stuff should people listen to this right now? Go back from your Sublime with Rome stuff. Is there like a favorite song or two that you're like, come check this out too?
We just put out our last album together that we've been working on for about the last 2 years. And honestly, like I feel like it's some of our strongest, most like cohesive stuff to the Sublime sounds. We have this song on there called Holiday, which I think is just like it's such an awesome song. We'll be playing it
What's it
live.
about?
The song is just kind of about like, keeping your mind open to like new doors that are opening up. A lot of this music I was writing knowing that my time with the band was going to be limited. Um, so a lot of the album is kind of about that in a really weird way because I can't really write about anything other than what I'm living.
Yeah.
That's like the blessing and the curse. But there's a lot of like introspective lyrics about just kind of closing one door and opening the other and not letting, past mistakes or past decisions cloud your vision or cloud your intent moving forward. And Holiday is one of those songs that I kind of dive in like a little deeper into that. And then another song that I think is like really, formidable for us is a song called Take It or Leave It, which is like just your quintessential kind of like lovers rock anthem.
Right.
And that one's been like a crowd favorite for us since like the moment we dropped it. We put it out on radio and it did its thing, and it's always a trip to kind of play these shows and see which songs are connecting with people. But then when you have one that is just consistently every city, every country, like that's a great record, to have. So Take It or Leave It is definitely one of those, and we also play that in the set list as well.
You
We'd
got
like
to do Take It or
to,
Leave It, and you got to do Panic off of yours truly as
yeah,
well.
a
You
hundred
have to do
percent.
those. Yeah.
Panic was a great one for us.
Yeah.
That was the number one song for us. It went number one on
Yeah.
active rock radio for about 5 weeks, and it was awesome. It really kind of put us on the map again. Everybody thought that "Lay Me Down," the song that I wrote for the Dirty Heads, they thought that that was Sublime with Rome, but as they came to find out, that was the Dirty Heads. So uh, yeah, like some of those records really did kind of help solidify more of the sound from us,
I
so to
love it.
speak.
I love it. Well, we invite everyone to check out the latest album and Holiday off of that. Like you said, I guess it's like you did. I think you did like four albums. Four albums.
Yeah,
Yeah.
one, two, yes, four
Yours truly in 11, Sirens in 15, Blessings in
blessings,
2018,
and then
and then
self-titled.
and then Self-Titled, which I guess is the first post-pandemic album together, and the last one before you break off and do your next chapter of your life.
Yes, sir.
Great. So what's next? Let's bringing it full circle. If this is the farewell tour, we want everyone to cherish these final memories with Sublime with Rome. But what is next for you in terms of the solo stuff? What can we look out for?
Oh man, I got so much new music coming, some great shows, awesome tours. We're just kind of setting up 2025. And it's just been like just an absolute party. Like some of the people that I've been working with, some of the news that I have like yet to break, but I have some really, really big stuff that I'm announcing soon. And just a lot of this new music. When the pandemic happened, that was really the first time that Sublime with Rome took a break.
Yeah.
We just kind of been hitting it hard every year, taking to different countries and touring. And when the pandemic happened, we really got to like take the back seat and just kind of like sit back for a little bit. And I can't really do that for too long. Like I have to get working on music. That's just kind of how I am. So
Yeah.
I like naturally, like a lot of my peers, like we just started to like do live stream concerts, like even just for free. I would just turn on the camera and then just start streaming for fans. And what ended up happening was like I started to create like this little like sub community of people who would watch me stream, and then they were just like, "Do you have any new music that you can play for us?" And I ran through everything at this point.
Yeah.
And honestly, I was like, no, I don't. Like, I haven't really been writing. So, like, it put me in this mode where I was like, dude, start writing some stuff. And that was the first time in so long where I was just starting to write music that I just wanted to write for myself. I didn't even really think that it would ever see a light of day, because we were so deep into the pandemic at this point. It was just kind of music that sounded fun for me. It was
Right.
taking these styles of music that I grew up with and then confusing and then fusing them together. This sort of like soul oldies, kind of like early Bob Marley's like rock steady sound, and it just started to form. And I mean, that was the seed that just really just grew. And I knew we had to finish the Sublime with Rome record because we were already writing it during the pandemic. But my eyes and my heart were just so focused on this body of music that I've been working on. So I'm really excited to really just start dropping that and getting these songs out. And the people that I'm doing it with are they're just awesome people that get my vision. So yeah, a lot of really, really awesome creative things in the works.
Absolutely. Well, all the best to what you got. Rome wasn't built in a day, my friends. So keep hammering away at it. I love it.
Yes,
But
sir.
we invite everyone to check out the Sublime with Rome farewell tour. It's going to be at the Hall at Live Casino and Hotel in Arundel Mills, Maryland on August 28th. Looking at your schedule, we're the next stop right after the legendary Asbury Park and where the Boss made famous in New Jersey. So bring some of those vibes down with us. And I guess, like, final seconds, tell our listeners why this summertime ska punk reggae, whatever you want to call it, rock vibes, why is it perfect for them to come on out and have a great summer show, baby?
Well, it's the perfect send off for summer. And as we're kind of coming to the close with summer, there's no other better way than spend it with some of the greatest music. And we want to be able to celebrate with you one last time under this outfit before I break off and come back to town with some new stuff. So let's party, baby.
Let's do it. Ron Ramirez, hey, thanks so much for joining us. I really, really appreciate it.
You got it, man. Thanks for the time.
All right, be well. See ya.
You too, man. Later.
Thanks so much for listening to Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. Our theme music is Scott Buckley's Clarion. Remember to give us a 5-star rating if you like what you hear. We'll see you next time.